Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Chewing the Fat. I've got Mr. Dean Kilby back with me this week. What's going on?
Come on, you got to repeat what you just said earlier about why do you always look so brighter? I said, that's what transformation looks like, baby. When you're an enlightened human being, everything's just...
I bought the ring light and everything, and it's just...
Thank you.
Last couple of weeks, I've had some really good chats with people on protocol and the stuff they're getting out of it, which has been great. Thought we'd bring you back on and catch up with what's going on with you and find out, what do you want to talk about this week? What are we going to chat about this week?
Oh, the people you've been talking to, you've been getting right into it. You're deep in the weeds now, dude. You're like coaching people. I'm interested to know what's happening with you, like both in phase 4. So the last time that we spoke, I took phase 1 off the table.
Yeah.
Right. And you had to kind of learn how to regulate yourself and not be reliant on phase 1 to correct your indulgences. So yep. I'm interested in what's that been like for you. And then also you've been coaching some people now. You're really starting to jump in and take some clients off my hands and really work with them. So, I want to know what that's been like for you as well.
Yeah.
And see what I've got to offer, and we can do this publicly.
That's a good thing or not, but hey, let's just run with it. Phase 4, without the phase 1. It's been good. There's still the times there that you still want to have more to drink than you should, or just keep eating. I haven't been eating anything that's you'd class as bad. Initially it was just eating too much stuff. So I've actually pulled back the amount I'm eating at meals as well, because you know what Lan's like, just a cooking machine. And yes, I don't have to eat it, but the looks I get...
Yeah, that's right. You caught yourself there.
The only
thing you have to do, Trevor, is die.
Exactly. But the looks you get when you're tipping half of it back down into the bin is like, I got up at 6 o'clock and cooked that for you. Well, I told you not to cook so much. So that's been good. And just portion sizes down. And, like I said to you the other day, while initially she can be, you just eat what I give you and you'll be fine. A couple of days after the chat we had, the portion sizes are down. There's way less rice-based stuff and noodle-based stuff, and it's mainly just vegetables and different types of meat. So now, really, it's all just about the how much I'm drinking side of stuff and what I'm drinking, and just I'm back to just having a protein bar at night if I want a snack instead of having a sandwich or whatever else is in the fridge. And, I think the last time we spoke as well, you mentioned something about you just don't have crap food at home, so there's nothing there to eat. So I took that on as well. I just haven't bought anything that's not good to eat. So, as in health.
In the olden days, which wasn't too long ago, a few months ago, I used to love going around to clients' houses because I get to check out their kitchen.
Yeah.
And what's in their fridge and cupboards and I'm trying to eat healthy and stuff, but you look in their environment and there's just drawers of stuff.
Yeah.
And their fridge is just full of all these foods that, but I don't eat all that. Then why is it in your fridge? Why do you buy it? So people have,
and then they struggle around not eating it because it's there to eat.
Exactly.
And then there's the whole, I noticed with me, there's a whole list of reasons that had come up to make it up. Well, it's just going to go off and that's a waste of money. So I'll just, once that's gone, I won't buy any more. And, all that crap.
My sister told me one time, my niece, who just turned 18, by the way, happy birthday, Kilby. She had her birthday party on Saturday night. And unfortunately, I couldn't go. I was down in Bendigo. But my sister was telling me one time, so my niece said she bought a packet of marshmallows or something like that. And she took one and she didn't like them. So she was going to chuck it out. My sister's like, oh, you can't chuck it out. So she ate the whole packet.
That's
and I
what
said,
you just brought up to
how was it? She goes, it was disgusting. I don't know why I ate it. I go, to save $3. You're going to trash your health over $3 or probably less, you know, whatever it cost. It wasn't much, you know. So we do that. You see drawers full of nuts and chips and, oh, you need those things in your house. You never know, you get biscuits and, oh, what about when you've got guests around? Yeah, let's have guests around so we can poison the crap out of them. Let's kill the people that we love. Let's create a movement. Someone gives you a plate of celery. Someone hands you a plate of celery. You go to visit someone, they give you a plate of celery and says, I love you.
As Homer Simpson once said, you don't win friends with salad.
Oh God. Anyway.
Yeah, it's been good. But it's still, what's still really great is that I'm still seeing, even though I've backed off a lot of the stuff that was starting to creep in and the serving sizes and all that sort of stuff, still really present to the effects the different foods have on you on any given day. That's been brilliant.
Yeah, good. Well, really, it's got to be about performance optimization now.
Yeah.
Right. So you go through a period of, you know, you got to stabilize. You got to find that point of neutrality. So I don't like people to ramp up their calories too high. You know, what people have to understand, and this isn't relevant during the weight loss phase. If you're overweight and you want to head downwards with your total body mass and get rid of the fat, then, you know, there's certain things that are appropriate to that. But when you're at your ideal body weight, it's about fueling your activity levels now. And so you've got to design a life where you're performing. If you haven't got a life in which you can perform, then what are you going to fuel? Right? So when people transition into phase 4, you know, I give them a couple of options from the coaching. I love working with people that engage me to really coach them as a performance coach and really work with them to design a life that's so big that has them, you know, really committed to things that matter to them, where they just have to sort this body out, you know, where you just wouldn't overindulge and let yourself go, because what you're up to matters too much. So you've got to manage the integrity of your health and well-being, and foundation to all of that is nutrition. So it's got to be a world of performance. You've got to design a life, or, you know, if you think of your life as a stage, you've got to design that stage upon which you can perform. And as Shakespeare said, the world is your stage. So you want to be looking at your performance and then working with me to say, hey, what's it going to take to fuel this? So you maintain or even build muscle mass. You don't put on any further fat mass, right? So, and you want to think of calories now as an opportunity to fuel your body. So, you know, there was a study where they took some people who had a stable weight. So their weight has been like really stable for, say, 3 years.
Yeah.
And that each individual person ate a certain amount of carbohydrates and a certain amount of protein, and they kept each person eating the same amount of carbohydrates and protein that they were eating. And then they started to increase their fat intake. And it took their daily caloric intake above 3,000 calories, above 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 calories. They maxed out at 6,800 calories.
Wow.
And they didn't get fat.
What the hell?
They didn't gain weight. So you and I, we grew up inside of this narrative that if you eat fat, you get fat.
But just from a calorie standpoint, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So if you see, this is very different to being stable in your weight when you've got a healthy metabolism, when your biochemistry is working properly. Your pancreas is, you know, regulating your energy metabolism with the right amount of insulin. Your tissue is responsive to the insulin. The majority of the clients that I work with, that we work with, they're metabolically deranged. We've got to correct that issue first, whatever they're dealing with. So But when it's corrected and you're in that stabilization phase, we can toy around with various approaches now and look at what's going to, fuel your performance and or, manage your commitment to longevity and improving your health span. But for many people during phase 4, because phase 1 to 3 happens so rapidly, when people are in the middle of the fat reduction phase but if people, we've got clients that have lost 30, 35, almost 40 kilograms. And, for the length of time that takes, it seems like a long time. No, but not really when you consider you've lost 40 freaking kilograms. What that takes. I see these ads for one of these popular apps that assist people to manage the psychology around their dieting and weight loss. And I hear, I lost 56 pounds in, whatever it is, 10 to 12 months. And I'm thinking, that's, our clients lose that in a matter of 4 months, or less. So, and then where the rubber hits the road is during that stabilization process, because that's where you've got to grow up. So although you may have lost 30 to 40 kilograms, you've been, dare I say it, really immature in your approach to your health, very juvenile, and certainly no maturity, no discipline. But then people act with integrity. It's mind-blowing. They've had no power around their health and their weight their entire life. And then I was talking to someone just earlier this afternoon. She said, Dean, I haven't been at this weight since I was 16 years old. This is ridiculous. 16 years old. And that's when her mother took her to Jenny Craig, I think it was, as a 16-year-old. And I said, and let me guess, you've been pissed off at your mother ever since, and being fat was your way to get back at her. And she couldn't stop laughing. I said, well, you got to get that complete, So, we can toy around soon with different dietary approaches like intermittent fasting and, but we got to start upping your performance, your exercise. We've got to start creating games to really challenge you. And then we've got something to sort your diet out around.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Health, it really is this kind of breakthrough into a new way of being healthy, a new way of being well, is a breakthrough in participation. So you've got to start participating in life in a whole new way. And like I said, what kind of life are you participating in? So you got to start looking at what's the stage that you're out to design for yourself. And I love coaching people because even early on, we get to do that work. I've got, one of the clients I'm working with, I made an analogy about riding a push bike, and it's like when something settles in you, and you stop trying to work things out and manage yourself. It's like everything kind of settles and it's like you're in a groove. And I said, it's like when you go from learning how to ride a bike to being a bike rider. And she said, I've never learned how to ride a bike. I said, guess what your assignment is this week? So, here's this woman that's never learned how to ride. She's incredible. She went and bought a bike. Her kids have been supporting her. And at first she was like, oh, we've got to go to a park that's far away from where we live because I don't want people who know me to see me trying to, it's embarrassing. And then she thought, hang on a minute. This is like, I wonder how many other people are in my boat that they're seeing this grown woman learning how to ride a bike that might inspire them to take something else on that they've been avoiding dealing with or never learned for themselves. So she's just unbelievably inspiring.
That's awesome.
Unbelievable. I said, that's so cool. Now let me ask you, like, how good are you in the pool with swimming? She said, oh God, don't start, Dean, just one thing at a time.
Yeah, it's what I got from that conversation was just, it's about the game you create around the diet. So the weight loss phase, that was the game of losing. So you were sort of bound by these rules of the game, and that's what you had to do. On phase 4, I can see for me, there's been nothing. There's just been try not to put on weight. There's been no game with any sort of boundaries and things around it to set you up for that diet to match. It's just been, do your best.
Totally. If you're not creating a compelling future to live into, if you're not, like you said, designing a game of your own design. I've been in this inquiry myself. I've shared with a number of people on when I'm coaching them, but always looking for how else can I better empower and enable my clients? And, how can I coach them? What is there to dig into? What is there to contribute that would support them to actually complete the journey? And in my view, I had like the journey is through the various phases: get to your target weight, transition with integrity, stabilize it, demonstrate over a period of time that you're reliable for your word and you can manage yourself. And then at that point, you're independently responsible for your own well-being. I kind of make myself redundant. So that's our game, right? Is to work with people, and then we make ourselves redundant, and where they're like, Trevor, kiss my skinny ass, don't need you anymore, right? And then they can go and live a really vital, fulfilled life where they're not concerned about the issues of metabolic syndrome, where they're not worried about, geez, am I going to have a heart attack? What's going to happen to my kids? Am I going to be able to be active with my kids? My joints are hurting. I can't move. I can't tie my shoelaces up. Who's going to want me? Well, wife's going to leave me. All this sort of stuff. It's like, be concerned about how big a ruckus can I make in life? How many people can I piss off, and, maybe someone will assassinate me at some point, and that'll be a great story for the grandkids to talk about. And so, you want,
that's right. You need your grandkids go, what do you want to be when you grow up? Assassinated?
Yeah.
Granddad?
Why not? I mean, it's not even like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, how do you want to end? It's like in a blaze of glory, of course, and that's the journey that kind of we focus on. But what I started to see, when I'm in that inquiry, it's like, what does it take to empower others to complete a journey? So, I've talked to people and I get coaching, and I'm like in this inquiry, and then someone asked me the question, well, what journeys have you not completed? And one of the journeys that came to mind, there's all great Cobra Kai's on Netflix and stuff. And, reminds us when we were kids, right? When I thought I wanted to be Karate Kid. I thought I was, right? And I took up martial arts when I was young, and maybe 12, something like that, 12, 13. And I did it for a little bit. I got a green belt, and I competed in a tournament and got a trophy and everything. And I just stopped doing it. And then, I never knew why I stopped. I loved it. I thought it was great. And then more recently, I've been assisting and coaching Glenn Coxon. So Glenn Coxon, as I've mentioned before, is like martial arts royalty here in Australia, and been working with him to help support transform his metabolic health. So Glenn's just this unbelievable phenomenon, 62-year-old male. He survived neck cancer, advanced neck cancer, that the doctors gave him a 5% chance of survival. And this guy's tough, man. Even Chuck Norris said that he's never seen anyone train as hard as Glenn Coxon.
Yeah, right.
Now, it's not bad coming from Chuck Norris, right? So anyway, the doctors gave him a 5% chance of surviving. And I lost a friend of mine. Gosh, when was it? It was the beginning of last year. Tony Fitzgerald passed away from neck cancer. So it's a horrible thing to have to deal with, but chemo, radiation, etc. Glenn decided, I'm going to create a game that's going to take my focus off of trying to survive the cancer, and he wanted to be a world champion. He wanted a world record. So he took on creating, the world record of the most number of wooden boards broken in a minute, 357 wooden boards broken in 60 seconds, which is just ridiculous. And the most number of wooden boards broken in 60 seconds by a female, that world record is held by his daughter, which is amazing. So, but he's had this like metabolic issue where he hasn't been able to lose the weight because the chemo, the trauma to the body, it really messes with your metabolism. And so I helped him, and then he's been training me as well. So, because I thought, I'm 43 years old, I've got to start moving more and I've got to be more active, and I thought it'd be great. So I sat him down the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and I just said, it's completely inauthentic, the way in which I've been relating to these training sessions. I've been relating to them as a bit of weekly exercise, which is such a dishonoring of who that man is and the sheer opportunity it is to be trained by him. So I shared with him, I said, look, I have this profound commitment to my clients, anyone that I have the opportunity to make a difference to. How do I better empower and enable them to complete the journey? So I want to really discover for myself what it's going to take to complete a journey I started when I was a kid. So I have a request of you. He said, what's that? And I said, I request you take me all the way through to black belt. And everything inside of me was screaming, no, don't say it. And then I thought whatever that voice in my head was saying, I thought it was right, because he didn't say anything. He just sat there looking at me. And I thought, oh God, he's going to tell me that I'm just not cut out for it, digging you too much of a pussy. Anyway, he starts welling up, and, I got moved that he was moved, and he stood up and he shook my hand, and he said, it would be my honor to train you as a black belt. And I'm excited to see what kind of a beast you are with a black belt like this. Oh God. And the shit's real now. And I got to tell you, it was amazing. He made me put the gi on. He ties the belt. And I felt like, a real dum-dum, because I didn't even know how to dress myself, right? And then we're training. And then after a little while, he goes, okay, we're going to spar now. And obviously he saw the look of terror in my face, because I haven't even punched a bag. I just don't do this stuff. So, and he reminds me, he says, listen, it's more dangerous than it is. It's more dangerous for me than it is for you, because you haven't learned control yet. Right. I was like, oh, okay. So anyway, we're sparring, and all of a sudden I'm like blocking stuff and, moving in ways I just didn't know that I could move like that, and my footwork and everything. And, it was fascinating. I felt like Daniel in Karate Kid, where I fulfilled my dream, man. I actually got to experience being Daniel's son. Right.
Are Glenn's cars any cleaner? Has he got any furniture being polished? No, you haven't done jack then.
Not yet. But then he clocks me one in the ribs just to wake me up, because I think I was getting a bit fascinated with myself. But here's what I got was, it's amazing how one's performance elevates when you're now acting inside of a declared commitment to complete a journey. And then since then, I've just been getting up early in the morning. I don't know why I'm getting up so early in the morning. I'm just like, there's nothing to do. It's like, so I just start doing the practices that he set me up to practice. And, I'm eating differently. And, so I'm inside of a bigger context now, and the thing that I really kind of got was the journey is very personal to me. That's for me to create. You want to be an inquiry, especially for yourself and all our clients and anyone listening, you want to be inquiring into, well, what is the journey that I'm on? Or at least the journey that I'm committed to being on, right? Which is often distinct from the journey that you're actually on. The journey that you're actually on might be just playing small, You're just concerned about your own self-importance, trying to see what you can get away with in life and how best to cover your ass, right? Yeah. Maybe that's the journey that you're on, and it may not be the journey that you're really committed to being on. And then what does it look like to complete that journey? Like in reality, in space-time reality, if you're watching the game being played, what does it look like? And, that's when I got, wow. So Glenn is providing for me a pathway on which I get to be challenged, and I get to train and develop and enhance myself and learn. And at some point, usually when you're at your peak, the dragon shows itself, that dragon that if we slay that dragon, whatever it's been for you in your life, whatever it is that if you slay that dragon, what's on the other side is real power and freedom. And it generally shows itself when, you're at your peak. So you want to get to your peak so that dragon shows itself. And if you don't act with integrity, if you don't demonstrate the discipline that's required, then that dragon may never show itself, or it may, and you're not ready, you're not prepared, and it'll destroy you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all have our own kind of stuff from the past and what we're out to accomplish and what we need to do to be the most fulfilled and satisfied version of ourselves. And that's the pathway. So what we do, Trevor, and what I'm providing for you is a pathway upon which you can train and develop yourself. And
I
think
that's been a real help since, like you mentioned before, coming on and starting to coach people myself. That's created you can't go back to what you were doing before now while you're coaching people to do the first, how's that going to work?
That's right. That's why I don't eat, sometimes I get the thought, I want to eat some crap food. And I'm like, I have, an emerging sort of reputation now. It's like, oh man, they're going to see someone sees me driving through KFC. Not that it's such a big deal, but what if that person was on the precipice of calling me and engaging me, but then they see me driving?
Yeah. Why is
that
unstable? Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Why is that a light flickering off in the background? Let me just pause it for 1 second. I'll unscrew it. Yeah, exactly right. What you were saying about the KFC, and if someone sees you eating that stuff.
Yeah, then that's their opportunity, and you never know who it is or the impact. You may be their only chance, because there's people that just have had, like I said, no power around their health, no integrity, no discipline for their entire life, and then they come and talk to us, and then somehow, in the way in which we interact with them, the results that we get from the get-go, that they're able to sustain and manage themselves for a long enough period of time for them to drop 20 kilograms, and they don't eat pizza once. They don't, you know what I mean? It's freaking mind-blowing. It still amazes me.
Speaking of which, we were all set to eat pizza the other night, and what did we end up eating?
You had a salad. You had chicken salad.
Chicken salad.
I had the pasta. Yeah, how come we didn't have pizza? That's funny. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. So it really, you got to inquire into and look for, like, well, what is the journey that I'm on? What does it look like to complete the journey? Now, what does it look like for me to get a black belt? I don't know. I've never done it. I mean, this guy, Glenn, he's got black belts in 5 different disciplines. His 6th Dan level. I mean, the guy's sparred with Chuck Norris. He trained Bruce Lee's daughter, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I start to get inspired by the real possibility of having a black belt, you know, what that accomplishment may mean for me, who I might be for myself on the other side of that power and freedom, as I said. But it's the paradoxical nature of this is my access to that degree of freedom is surrendering to the instruction of another. Because what the heck would I know?
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's just so beautiful and so poetic, you know? And that's when I really kind of got what we do. And, you know, when people are addicted to sugar their whole life, and they're addicted to takeaway, and they're addicted to satisfying just random, uncontrollable thoughts and feelings with food. And then the trust that they put in us to work with them is just something that really needs to be honored, respected. And that's why I'm not nice. Because to honor and respect it means to interact with, relate to and interact with the client, the person, as a big human being that can take it. You know, what's the word?
Following.
Yeah, that. I don't even know that word. I don't know why I just tried to say it then. I never use it. That's stupid.
Have you
Anyway,
used Jag and Rock yet?
Babying them, right? It just adds to what the issue is already, because they're already juvenile. They're already immature when it comes to their health, right? So the breakthrough opportunity for them is to actually grow up, not to invalidate who they are or offend them, but it's just like this process of growing up. And it takes something. You can't. This is why people get stuck. They try and do it on their own. And, you know, I said this to one of the clients a couple of weeks ago. She dobbed someone else in, right? Someone that she said to, you got to get this sorted, go call Dean. And then I'll start working with her friend and, you know, making a change there. And then her friend went off track and didn't call me. And so that client lets me know. And I said, that doesn't work. She's got to contact me. I said, thanks for letting me know. It really does take a village to raise a grown-up. And there's so much truth to that. And when I've said it to people, that everyone really gets it. You know, and it's not like it takes a village to raise a child. It really takes a village to raise a grown-up. And if we're all pulling for each other, you know, not in this world of comparison and I'm no better than you and all, but just really pulling for each other to be well. Who knows? When people can stand for mastering their biology, you know, and what's foundational to mastering your biology is you got to master your eating, your nutrition. You got to master your sleep. You've got to master your movement. You got to move. So this is all part of biology. Why do we have a freaking central nervous system? To move. You've got to move. Trees don't have a brain. That's why they don't move. Do you understand? Right? So you got to master all of that. And then in doing so, obviously in mastering your physicality, your biology, you master your consciousness or your internal state, you know, or in other words, your psychology, your thoughts and feelings, right? You master them. You are not your thoughts and feelings. You develop a mastery over your internal state or your consciousness. And when you take on mastering, you never arrive anywhere. But if you take on mastering your biology and your consciousness, then you're free to be out here, mastering what it is to live a fulfilled, satisfied life, one where you can contribute and make a difference to others. And then you die.
Yes, you do.
Right. And, you know, I encourage everyone to come to my funeral. I'm 43 years old now. I'm standing for it being in another 100 years. So I want everyone to come. So you have to stick around. You got to look after your health and eat your vegetables.
Yeah, I've been doing that. What else are we talking about? I've also, like I said to you the other day, I've also started. I've been training 3 days a week, but I've also started walking on the days I don't train as well for about an hour, pretty much down the hill to Glenfield Station and back up the hill to home, which has been great. Just wakes you up in the morning.
How are your knees?
They're great.
They're good?
They're awesome. Yeah, they're good. I mean, they never gave me a initially walking, if I had, first thing in the morning or whatever, they'd be a pain in the ass. But no, it was more just kneeling down and getting back up and doing stuff like that. But yeah, now the 3 days a week I train, I hold 10 kilos and do squat jumps in the air. It's no dramas at all. Actually, while we're on that, update us on what's happening with that.
Oh yeah, so we got approval, TGA accreditation on this new procedure, this technology that allows us to perform these sort of regenerative type techniques to treat patients with osteoarthritis joint, related issues. So we treated the first ever TGA approved patient. How do I word it? It was the first patient treated for a musculoskeletal condition using this technique that is now TGA approved.
Right.
And there's all this language that I've got to get used to, because there's certain things I can say and certain things I can't say. So I'm not allowed to use the word stem cells because that's considered a drug by the Therapeutic Goods Administration. And that's not registered as a drug, so we can't say that we're doing that.
Right.
And we're not anyway. We're taking people's fat tissue. So, I love saying that I'm an expert in fat and how to lose fat and also how to use fat. So, you've got these in your fat tissue. You've got
that brings out a whole new meaning to use it or lose it.
Exactly. You're fat. In the next episode of Chewing the Fat, we'll talk about your erectile dysfunction and what you can do about it.
Use it or lose it.
That brings a whole new meaning to chewing the fat.
Yeah.
So,
this went downhill fast. Anyway, you've got this fat, yeah. Now I can't say anything. Yeah.
In your fat tissue, which we can extract a bit, just need 50 grams of fat, which is good. Most people have enough, right? So we do a little procedure where we can obtain that. And then in your fat tissue, you got in your blood vessels within the fat tissue, you got these cells that are called pericytes. And when they're injured, now I've just broken some blood vessels and I've caused some injury to those pericytes. So they're activated now and they can do some amazing things in terms of assisting in, I've got to be careful what I say, sorting you out. So we can use this procedure to help increase joint space, because in osteoarthritis, you get the degeneration of the cartilage and you end up with bone on bone. So we can assist in the transfer of this tissue. What we do is we take the fat tissue and then mechanically fractionate it. So it's amazing. You get it in this little closed system in this canister and ball bearings, and you just shake the crap out of it. And it breaks up the fat tissue, but it also, in doing so, it causes mechanical injury to those pericytes, those cells, and activates them. And their activation is important in the tissue remodeling, tissue regeneration process. So, and then we can, put that back into the patient's joint, and it can assist in increasing joint space, increasing cushioning or improving cushioning, and also decreasing resistance when people are trying to move. So we want to see, it's like, how much can we free up people's constraints from their osteoarthritis? And, it's a big step. It's a huge, huge step. And I started this journey, interestingly enough, in 2014. So I've been at work on this for like 7 years now. And I started off training doctors. I created the first ever physician training workshop to teach doctors how to perform these regenerative procedures in clinic. And then it got a bit weird in the Australian medical scene. There was some caution in the environment, and then the TGA, the looming regulation of how these procedures would be handled in the future. In the face of that, I then started MSK Stem Cell Clinic, where we went even more advanced, and that was probably the most advanced regenerative medicine clinic in the country. It was amazing, and we treated a number of people with outstanding outcomes for their osteoarthritis joint problems. But then in 2018, the health minister signed off on a new policy which regulated your cells as a drug, which meant we couldn't use your cells to inject it back into you. But over the past couple of years, I've been working with a team of people in the background, and we've made it possible now to continue treating people and see if we can make a difference in that regard.
Yeah, awesome.
So that's really, really cool. Now, why did I start focusing on reversing metabolic syndrome with this nutritional approach? Why people's cartilage degenerates in the first place is because their bodies are too inflamed. Why is that so inflamed? Because their insulin levels are high. Why is their insulin levels high? Because they're eating too much sugar, carbohydrates, and they're overweight. So if we can put the fire out first, so, before you can focus on regenerating the forests, when there's a bushfire, you got to put the fire out first, right? Once the fire's out, then you can look at regenerative strategies to help heal the land. But the fire that we're talking about that needs to get put out is the obesity epidemic, the overconsumption of carbohydrates and sugar, the chronic, the low level chronic inflammation that people have in their body that's ultimately going to cause tissue degradation and the onset of age-related diseases much younger. So we don't want that to happen. So, it's people think iodine does weight loss. It's just, yes, people lose weight. It's just kind of not what we do, right?
Yeah. Very cool.
So, that's, it's exciting, and, I look forward to helping more people in that regard. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
What else are we going to talk? Oh, me coaching.
Coaching. Yeah.
What do you want to know?
Well, you're still here. They haven't beaten you down yet. It's not so straightforward. It's like, it takes something,
not at all.
Right?
It does. And, people don't, as you said, part way through this conversation, at some point you hinted at it, people just don't like being told what to do. I think you were talking about the juvenile, what it takes to raise an adult. There is just a real, and I'm no different. It's not like I'm converted or anything, but it's amazing the resistance to the initial, I need to do this, I want to get it done, it's been too long, and I'm totally 100% committed to 2 weeks in, trying to find ways to subvert the process.
Yeah.
But it's great, it actually gives you a lot of insight into yourself as well. And because I've been on the protocol as well, I get to provide what I dealt with along the way as well. It's been really good.
Yeah. It's people have to be coachable, which for many people, they've never been. They've never been in a coaching situation. So it's like I said earlier, like, for example, me with the journey, the martial arts journey, I have to literally surrender. I don't get to have an opinion on anything he tells me. I do it, and it's not like I just zip it. But it's kind of like if you do watch Karate Kid, and Mr. Miyagi had him painting the house and the fence and, the cars, washing the cars, and not painting the cars, washing the cars and sanding the decks. I mean, at what point would you have quit?
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, what the heck am I doing? He's just taking advantage of me, and just, this isn't the deal. But they had a pact, and there was a promise there. And the promise was not to quit. I don't quit, you don't quit, we just get the job done. And their pact was, you promise to be teachable, and I promise to teach you karate. And then you see it all the way through to the end. And it's a sacred kind of relationship, that coach to coachee relationship. If you relate to this journey as like, a diet to lose a bit of weight, man, you're going to get resentful, not just towards lettuce, but also towards the coach that's committing to support you, to transform your life, and willing to give you everything, and willing to be ways with you where you risk people not even liking you. I mean, I don't get invited to certain parties anymore because people are fat and they don't want to confront seeing me.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to be liked, and I want to have friends, and I want to have a social life and all this sort of stuff. But then, people's integrity is so way up, particularly those who have contacted me in the past and never started, or they started and then they disappeared, or they didn't act with integrity. And, so, I put all of that stuff, that ordinary stuff in life, at risk in service of making a difference to people, because I just can't imagine, living my life any other way. And that's what it is to be a coach.
Yeah.
So I just really admire you, and I said to you, like, fuck, pardon, didn't mean to swear then, but I want you to come work with me, and let's really impact this country, and you've just given it everything. You've been engaged, you call me, you bother me all the time, you're asking me questions, you're really committed to learning, you're sending people to me all the time. You're not trying to be clever because you know a little bit and you've experienced it. You're not like, oh yeah, I know it all. And you really honor the 25 years it's taken me to learn all this bloody stuff. And not just the scientific stuff. It's working with the hundreds of people, thousands over the past 15 years, of what it takes to coach people, to cause breakthrough results, like quantum leaps in who they're being and how they're acting in life. And I just love that you're fully engaged in being on that journey for yourself in that process, to be able to contribute and make a difference to people.
Yeah, thanks.
So, if you don't get the kind of respect and honor that you want from your clients that you're coaching, just know you're always going to have it from me.
Yeah, I got it. And look, I do get that. I do get that from the clients. Anything that usually comes up, it's all with me anyway. So
hey, you just got to love them up, stick the knife in, and then love them up some more, right? So long as they're losing 1 to 3 kilograms every week, it's all that matters, and their health is improving and their vitality is elevating, and they're feeling more confident, and their skin starts glowing. I mean, that's one of the first things you see in the clients, is like, you see them again, you're like, wow, your skin looks amazing. And their eyes look brighter, and they just look happier. I mean, you've been coaching people, and that's been the outcome with some of them. Their partners are saying, wow, I've never seen him this happy. And it's just incredibly fulfilling.
Great.
So, mate, I think on the next one, I'm just to let everyone know and let you know, I've got some cool interviews coming up.
Yeah, cool.
The scientific panel, it's really cool. I want to introduce them to everyone. We've got an environmental microbiologist. He's an expert in mold and how mold can affect your health, and all kinds of microbes, not just mold, but all kinds of microorganisms, and how the microorganisms in our environment can affect our health. We've also got a microbiologist that is an expert in your gut microbiome, and we're going to have him on, and we've got a neurobiologist, and it's going to be amazing to talk about all this interesting science now that's coming out about the gut-brain relationship. Metabolic experts. I've got these doctors. Oh my God, Russell. Dr. Vickers is a dentist, but he's an oral and maxillofacial surgeon. He's a pain specialist. He's got a PhD in analytical chemistry, and he's an expert in herbal medicine.
Yeah, right.
He's also an artist. He's like a real Renaissance kind of guy.
Yeah, wow.
And he's probably Australia's most qualified regenerative medicine clinician.
Yeah, wow.
He's done some phenomenal stuff here in Australia and in China, working in the medical system over there as well. And it's going to be amazing to introduce
I'm looking forward to this. I've mentioned him at the end of a couple of the last ones. And I'm really looking forward to hearing. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and then for our members, we'll be able to go really deep with these experts and really get the latest and the lowdown on what is and isn't real, and what works and doesn't work, and how you can really make a huge impact on those health conditions where, the standard medical care just doesn't even touch the surface. And then, how we can elevate our performance and longevity too. So,
Can't wait.
it's really cool.
Cool. All right. Thanks for that. Thanks for joining me today, Dean, and we'll see you guys next week on next week's Chewing the Fat. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Keep up to date with all the latest in your health. See you guys.